And we're back. What's going on, folks? We got another live stream going. Not going to be with you long. We're on a lunch break, so I know all the good people that are listening on your lunch break. I thank you for tuning in. I'm on my lunch break as well. So we're going to be in and out, probably 30, 40 minutes. Still waiting to see a lot of stuff. We'll go ahead and fire up the Facebook Live. See if we can get anybody there as well. I got to figure out a way to do this on both streams. I know there's a way through OBS to do this YouTube and Facebook at the same time. I just ain't put it together yet. I ain't really tried, but I'm gonna get that done for next week. So, because I like the lunch break thing. Quick hit. A lot of information still coming out, and it's a lot of just a lot of speculation right now. Nothing's really happened. People still wondering if whether we should keep them, whether we should get rid of them. My official stance is, and like I said, I'm 50-50 on it. If they get rid of them, I understand. If they keep them, I understand. But I believe they are going to keep Nick Sirianni. That is my opinion. So we'll see. So, but yeah, we're gonna see what's going on. I've been checking the news. Nothing's really happened all day. Um, a lot of good arguments on both sides of the table, and excuse me, a lot of good arguments on both sides of the table. So we're gonna see where that ends up, and we're gonna see what Jeffrey Lurie is really gonna do, because ultimately, this is his decision. It's Lurie's decision. What's up, Brian? What's up, Frat? What's up, Dennis? Um, so we got a lot of things going on, big decisions to make. Jeffrey Lurie is not somebody who is going to rush to judgment. At least that's how I see it. Now, a lot of people would argue like what happened with Doug Peterson, but there was a lot of lead up to that. And I don't think this is the case. I think this is a situation where when they have their meeting, when Jeffrey Lurie asks the questions he wants to ask, if he don't get the answers that he wants, he's going to make a decision based on that. What's going on, James? Top of the morning to you, or lunchtime. Happy lunchtime to you. Robert D. Solvable. I like that name. I appreciate it. It sounds like some type of new product on as seen on TV. Robert D. Solvable. I like that. But thank you for watching, bro. Y'all can check me out on YouTube if you can. Um, I haven't really seen anything. Let me go to. I was checking the computer, and just we signed a couple new players. We signed another tight end. I was really hoping, like my thing with and this goes with the frustration of Sirianni this year. All these new players, it means absolutely nothing if you don't use them. We signed Rashad Penny, and everybody kind of got excited about that. Another back that we could, a more powerful back. And it didn't work out. He didn't even step on the field. I feel bad as a running back that they basically wasted a year. I mean, he got paid, but when you're at that level, he's not breaking into the league. He's had good years in the league, and even at that level, when you in your fourth or fifth year, whatever it is for him, you want to play. Period. You do not want to be on the sidelines just watching. You want to play. So, we signed a couple people. We signed Watkins, a kid from Cleveland. Um, and we signed that tight end. I forget what the name is. We signed 20 players. I didn't even realize it was 20 players. So, but a lot of stuff going on. Uh-oh. What's going on? I'm beeping and booping all over the place. So, we got a lot of stuff going on. Owner Jeffrey Lurie likely will keep head coach Nick Sirianni. Nothing has been official yet. This is everybody speculating. Everybody's guessing. And I'm no different. I'm guessing too, just based on what I think is going to happen. I think they're gonna keep him. Scott Hughes, what's going on? Hopefully, I'm a good podcast that's playing in the garage, brother. I appreciate you. So, yeah, man, it's very interesting time we are, and it feels so different. But this just happened a couple years ago, 3 years ago now. So it's not like we haven't been here before, but it still feels weird because we've had the success we've had. And even that is not uncommon because it was the same exact situation with Doug Peterson not too long after he won the Super Bowl. So we were still on that high because you remember that next year, that Alshon Jeffries job, if he don't drop that pass, we might be back in the bowl. So you never know. Yeah, Brian, I think he's gonna keep his job because if they were gonna fire him, they would have done it already. If they were gonna fire him, um, they wouldn't necessarily be concerned about anything he had to say. And I just look at it like that. They're gonna let you go, cut your losses. Thanks for your time, and we're gonna keep it moving. And that gives him the maximum amount of time to find a new job or start that process. So, um, you know, so it is what it is. I'm really hoping. I don't even know. Here's my back and forth with it. I like Sirianni, and you guys have heard me say this before. The reason why we didn't have a fractured locker room was because of the relationships that Sirianni built with those players. That is why we didn't have a fractured locker room. As opposed to, I don't know if you guys have been seeing this whole back and forth thing between Robert Griffin III and Jay Gruden when Jay Gruden was coach of the Washington Redskins. When RG3 got hurt, he came back too soon, never got right, but in his words, he explained some situations that happened, and it didn't paint him in the best light. And he explains that. And he was like, hey, he asked me to do this. I did it. I took a bullet, and he didn't back me. So, very interesting. And I was listening to the back and forth between, because Jay Gruden's been on Twitter. Robert Griffin III is laying out receipts, and they both going at it. So, and Robert Griffin didn't deny the stuff that happened. He was just saying, yes, it happened, and this is why it happened. He's giving context. So I was like, it's pretty interesting. So he wasn't trying to run from it, and he told Jay Gruden, he said, if you want to come on my show and discuss it, he said, I'm not going to call you any names or, curse you out or nothing like that, but I'm going to tell the truth. So I thought that was very interesting. But based on that conversation, I was like, that right there is how you divide a locker room. Because Jay Gruden as a coach, there are always going to be some guys that'll back Jay Gruden. And then you got guys that are going to back RG3. So just by that, you have a fracture. And that happens when the relationship between the coach and the players is just okay. And I think Nick Sirianni did a great job building those relationships since he's been here. So despite of all of the ups and downs, because I don't care who you are, Belichick, Jimmy Johnson, Parcells, look at some of them Hall of Fame coaches, Shanahan out in San Francisco, McCarthy down in Dallas. I don't care who you are. Everybody is giving the business to McCarthy, and rightfully so. But let's not forget that McCarthy got a Super Bowl ring. We don't. So there's something to be said. These coaches didn't just forget how to coach. There is a measure of luck to this. Sometimes you get the GOAT, sometimes the GOAT gets you. But there is a measure of luck to anything. What is my motto? What is my saying about the NFL? Every team is one play away from glory or ruin. One play away. You look at us in the Super Bowl last year. If Jalen doesn't fumble that ball, One play. You look at the Jets this year. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't pop his Achilles, one play. If James Bradbury don't get called from holding last year at the end of the game, one play. So there is a measure of luck, and sometimes it's just not as simple as you got to be the best coach and you got to have the best players. You can't tell me that CeeDee Lamb at that going into that game wasn't the best wide receiver in the league. You can argue that he's not, but you can also argue that he was. And if you're even in that argument, that's where you need to be. Because it's subjective. People going to, back their guy or back their city. And I understand that. But to at least be in that conversation. Because we can say A.J. Brown was the best receiver in the league. How come we didn't throw him the ball? So everybody gets a turn when it comes to that. But you can't tell me CeeDee Lamb wasn't top 3 in the league. And then they lay an egg in Dallas. So, and I look at it from the standpoint, and this is just me being real, and take out the I hate the Cowboys stuff, and now let's just look at a football player speaking on what he sees. When Dallas practiced last week for Green Bay, do you think that they practiced all of those drop balls? Do you think they practiced Dak not making the right read and forcing the ball to CeeDee Lamb? Did they practice that? Did they practice him missing a wide when he threw that pick six? Did they practice him just missing a wide open Brandon Cooks? Did they practice that? That's on McCarthy. If they practiced it, that's on the head coach, right? He didn't do his job. Nah. So there's a very thin line. The difference between like what happened in Dallas and what was going on in Philadelphia is nobody expected Dallas to lose that game at home because of the product that they had put on the field. With us going down to Tampa Bay, we knew what our warts were. We knew what the problems we had on defense and what was going on offense. And we had talked till we were blue in the face about Todd Bowles bringing the blitz, and we still looked like we weren't prepared. To me, that's different. That's different. You know what's coming. So it's a very, very thin line. Like I look at they fired the dude in Buffalo. Now Buffalo goes on a crazy run, but when they fired that offensive coordinator, I'm like, there were some touchdowns and Josh Allen did make some spectacular plays under that same offensive coordinator. So when Josh Allen has that bad game and he's making wrong reads and he's fumbling the ball, y'all don't practice that. So is that on the coach too? And you could bring that up here in Philadelphia. We harping on the play calling, but you know what? Jalen Hurts has got to shoulder some of that blame too, because he did make some bad decisions out there. So it goes both ways, and it's a thin line. Joseph Campbell, what's going on, man? I appreciate you. So it's a thin line with what's going on. So, let me see. Nope. I'm looking at this article right here. Let me run that back. They're talking about, I think they talked to Slay, because I heard this yesterday when they were talking about Denard Wilson. And I know I made the comment on my last stream, which was Tuesday, I believe, when I was asking the question, like, why would Denard Wilson want to come back? Why would he want to come back? Everybody on the team wanted him to stay. We made the wrong choice, because I look at it like this. They were not going to keep Brian Johnson and Denard Wilson. Somebody had to stay and somebody had to go. They could, but now that I can look at it with hindsight, they weren't going to keep both of them. And I think Sirianni, for whatever reason, chose to let Denard Wilson walk when the defense wanted to keep him. Everybody loved that dude. And you see what he's doing in Baltimore. They got the number one back end in football. Probably going to go to the Super Bowl, or at least got a shot at it. But if Lurie tries to bring him back, why would Denard Wilson want to come back here? Unless they pay him a ton of money and just give him the DC job. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But again, why would he want to come back? If he does come back, then once again, that goes to the relationships built with Sirianni. Because now the question is, who wanted to keep him and who didn't? Was it Sirianni wanted to go in a different direction? Was it Howie Roseman? Or did Howie Roseman leave the choice up to Sirianni? Because what it seems like, whatever their relationship may have been, it seems like Sirianni wanted to get Patricia in here some way, shape, or form. Because that happened way too fast in my book. Patricia became a part of the staff a little bit too quickly after all of that stuff went down. So to me, that looks like Sirianni had that in the back of his head anyways. But, I mean, if that's the guy that you want, he made a decision. And then when they did what they did to Desai, you know Desai's gone. He ain't staying. Because they did him wrong. They did him dead wrong. And the reason why they did him wrong was because you know what the issues were in our secondary when everybody and their mama got hurt and we lost all our linebackers and how we didn't sign nobody else. That's not on Desai. However, our lack of tackling, I got to put that on somebody. Now, I got to give Desai a little bit of that. Hey, Marianne, I got to give Desai a little bit of that blame. But ultimately, if you in the NFL and you ain't figured out how to tackle, can't no coach teach that. But that is an attitude, that is a tone that is set in practice. That tone is set in practice. Because you know, I'll give you a back in my day example. If we going through team drills back in 93, if all of a sudden I'm going full speed and every now and then you would have an overzealous rookie or something like that that wanted to show out in camp, and sometimes the vets weren't about all of that. Like, you know, and vets would tell you. Back then they would tell you like, hey, Rook, I know you're trying to make a name for yourself, but you got to tone it down. And then you try to make a play at one of the vets' expense, and they would come up and light you up just to let you know. Just to let you know. I'll never forget, we went to New York. We were in preseason, we were scrimmaging the Jets, so we stayed in New York. And we were in a team drill, and what you would do is it would be the twos against the ones. So it would be like the number one Eagles offense against the number two Jets defense, and vice versa. Well, all of the rookies and stuff like that, they would normally go with the twos, and they would get you in against the number one defense. That way, if the Jets want to tee off, they're not hurting starters and things like that. All I know is the play was coming to me. I had the ball in my hands. I got through to the second level, and lo and behold, I see Ronnie Lott coming up, and I'm thinking I'm about to get lit up. Now, mind you, this is 1993. I've grown up with Madden and just the very beginning of the whole EA Sports thing. Madden came out when I was in college, so, you know, but I witnessed the 49ers run. So Ronnie Lott is somebody that's bigger than big. Seth Joyner was somebody that was bigger than big. Randall Cunningham was bigger than big. And I'm standing toe-to-toe with these dudes. And all I know is Ronnie Lott came through, and I thought he was going to light me up. And he just ran by me and kind of scuffed me on the shoulder pad. And that was it. And my heart was beating a mile a minute. But and I'm saying all that to say, back then they would let you know, or they would put your butt on the ground. It was an attitude. It was a tone. And in this era of football, you don't have it. At least we don't. Because there are other teams that can tackle. So I'm like, what are they doing? So, but that's a tone that we got to set. And that has to start with the coaches. The coaches, day one, have to come out and say, hey, we are going to be a dominant physical defense. From day one, That has to be set. And you can't really it's hard to do that with Halo helmets. You got to start popping some people. And I don't know if we're going to do that. I don't know if the rules are going to let us do that. That's why, I always say you can't really tell what kind of team you got until week 4. That way you see what everybody's doing against full speed competition. When everybody's tackling and hitting and you got film on people. That's when you really find out what kind of team you got. So every year it gets a little bit more difficult because they keep putting these rules out and you can't hit nobody. You can't touch them. So we'll see. We shall see. But let me see. Let me fix this. Let me go back to that and let me see if anybody's anything on NFL.com. I thought it was interesting with the whole McCarthy thing. I thought he was out of there, but I mean, it doesn't surprise me because I look at it like this: Jerry Jones is too old to start over. Jerry Jones' son, Stephen Jones, looks like he did when Jerry Jones came into my consciousness in the 80s, or I should say in the 90s, because I remember going to Dallas and playing the Cowboys. We had Herschel and that whole thing. So seeing Jerry Jones in the box back then, that's what Stephen Jones looks like now. So, hold on, what do you say? The only physical player we had on this team was both lines and the wide receivers, and mainly the older guys on the side. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, 88s. You're not right. You're not wrong, James. I would love to see. I would love to see Bieniemy as our offensive coordinator because I think Jalen would respond better to hard coaching, like his dad did it. I think he would respond better to that. If y'all remember 2 years ago, Jalen was the one that said to Sirianni, like, "Hey, you can coach me hard. I'm used to it." Jalen made that comment. Sirianni didn't. So, yeah, James, Ronnie Lott was, woof, knock your head off, bro. So, yeah, I would love to see Bieniemy. 88s to your point, the offensive and defensive line still came to play. I agree. But you cannot, and these are the questions that I know Lurie should have. Now, whether he'll ask them or not, it's very difficult to ascertain what he is looking for. But I want to know, a lot of people think the question should be, what is Sirianni going to do to fix this? And that's hard to say less than a week after the season ended. But the first two things you could say right off the bat is let's develop some hot routes and let's add some creativity to our offense that has three of the best weapons in the NFL. That is the criminal part. Our offense looked the way it looked, and we still had two receivers with 1,000 yards and a running back with 1,000 yards and a quarterback that should have thrown for over 4,000 yards. If it wasn't for those last 3 games, if we'd have just ran a balanced offense, or when we stopped trying to get the ball to A.J. Brown, I didn't understand that. So we went on that A.J. Brown was, not talking to the media tour. And then before that, it was, are we forcing the ball to A.J. Brown? And you know what? He was forcing the ball to A.J. Brown. And he was missing some receivers. But we were winning. And every time A.J. Brown got the ball in his hands, he was killing folks. So I think the creativity, how you going to have somebody like DeAndre Swift and you never throw him the ball? That makes zero sense to me. To me, that's common sense stuff. What's up, Cody K? You ain't really missed much, man. I'm just kind of spitballing, going off the top of the dome. So I'm probably gonna be rolling for about another 20 minutes. But yeah, man, the creativity, and it's not. You don't have to come up with a brand new offense. You don't. Creativity is easy, and I use the example of when I coached 9 years for the GT Stallions. Matter of fact, look for there's a kid in the draft. His name is Devin Leary. Played at Kentucky this year. Broke all of Phillip Rivers' records at North Carolina State. Then he transferred to Kentucky to be a sixth-year senior. So now he's getting ready for the draft. So that's a kid I coached, and I coached with his father for 9 years. But when I say you put creativity in it, when I used to coach, I would make 15 plays. Because mind you, these are 9 and 10-year-old kids. I drew up 10 plays and maybe 5 pass plays. Because kids that small ain't throwing the ball nowhere. But from every play that I drew up, there was a counter and there was a pop pass off of that play. So now your 10 to 15 plays turns into 30 to 45. And it's that simple. All you need to do is add wrinkles or motion or different sets. You can run the same play out of different sets, different formations. Or you can have a completely different set and motion into the formation that you want. Different ways of doing it. I keep using the example of San Francisco because San Francisco does this the best, in my opinion. Everybody knows what San Francisco is doing. Everybody knows they're going to run that skinny pitch, that wide pitch. They're going to get Debo the ball. They're going to get Brandon Ayuk on the ball. And a lot of times they like to line Debo up in the slot. He runs a 5-yard slant, and he turns that 5 yards into a big play. That's what he did against us. Purdy doesn't have to throw the ball down the field much. Just get the ball. Get the ball to your hands of your playmakers. I keep saying that. Get the ball into your hands, into the hands of your playmakers, and let them make plays. And for whatever reason, we were doing that for a minute. Then everybody thought it was, they saw the everybody kept bringing up the thing on the sideline between Jalen and AJ. And I was like, that happens every game. And then what happened? AJ goes on a historic NFL tear and broke a record, did something that had never been done in the NFL before. So, yeah, he's supposed to be boisterous because he can make a difference. And he did make a difference. He did. So, by my account, whatever they were talking about, A.J. Brown was valid in his argument. Because when they started to give him the ball, he did something that had never been done before. What are you going to do? So now our offense, not to mention the weapons I already talked about. So now our offense this year had 3 potential Hall of Famers. You had Jason Kelce, you had Lane Johnson, and you got A.J. Brown. Because if A.J. Brown just stays consistent, he's putting up Hall of Fame numbers because he's already done something that has never been done. He's already been to a Super Bowl. He didn't get the chip, but he's been there. You look at somebody like Megatron, or you look at somebody like Barry Sanders that didn't even sniff a Super Bowl. That is a shame. At least now A.J. Brown can say he's been there and he wants to go back. He never would have said that if he would have stayed in Tennessee. So it's a big decision to make. Let's check the news again. Still don't see nothing happening. Latest news. Nope, nothing. Yeah, ain't nothing happening. So maybe we'll hear something tonight. Maybe we'll hear something next week. I don't know. So it is what it is. Just want to touch on that real quick. It is my opinion. I'll state this again before we close out. It is my opinion that Jeffrey Lurie will decide to keep Sirianni. and we will end up with 2 new coordinators. I just hope they can get the right ones. Hope they can get the right ones because we got the quarterback, we got the offensive weapons, and they just flamed out this year. So we got to do better. So, and I have a strong suspicion wherever Brian Johnson ends up, watch what he does next year. That's going to be the telltale sign. If Brian Johnson goes somewhere else and his offense is successful, everybody is going to be looking at Nick Sirianni like, what in the hell were you doing? Because then it'll be clear who the problem was. So, again, if they keep Sirianni, there is no misunderstanding. This is our silver lining as fans. There is no silver lining, or that is the silver lining. There is no misunderstanding to what is going to happen to Sirianni if he doesn't turn this thing around. And our window is still open. Our window shuts a little bit trying to get back to a Super Bowl with a brand new coach. We got lucky with Sirianni. Let's keep it real. We got real lucky. And it helped when Howie Roseman drafted who he drafted, and then we signed A.J. Brown, and, so that helped. But next year, if Lurie decides to keep him, he is coaching for his job. And we have to get past the wild card round of the playoffs. I still believe we can win the division next year. With the weapons that we have, our big question mark is what is our defense going to look like? And is Howie going to draft a linebacker? Jeremiah Trotter Jr., anybody? I don't know. So that's it. I'm going to get out of here. Finish your sandwiches. Enjoy the rest of your lunch. I'm going to get out here and try to shovel some snow real quick. It's coming down hard here in South Jersey. And it's supposed to keep snowing until like 6. So I'm going to go out. I'm probably going to use my leaf blower. So, but yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to try to do this a little bit more and with a little bit more regularity. So if you want to see something, if you want to talk about something, hit me up. I'd appreciate it. I like feedback. And we'll see what we can do. One more question. 88 SMC says, will Swift come back? I hope that we will re-sign DeAndre Swift. And I hope we will do right by Hassan Reddick. Those are 2 homegrown athletes. We need to take care of them because they are good for the city. They are Pro Bowl players. And I see no reason why we can't keep them. That's it. So, yeah, Cody, I haven't gotten into draft analysis. I got a couple people, couple friends of mine that are good at that, so I'm going to lean into their information. But that is something that I will be covering in the future after the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I want to see Swift come back, man. I do. Good kid. Like I said, homegrown from Philly. Hassan Reddick is from Camden, South Jersey. So, keep both them guys here, man. Keep both of them here. So I'm going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your lunch. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace.